So today with me is Lena Patel. Lena is the founder of sandboxtoboardroom.com, author of Razor Innovation IQ, and a leading expert on helping rising stars and C-suite executives awaken to and leverage the untapped power in themselves and others to lead impactful organizational change. She draws insights and best practices drawn from being mentored by her grandfather, a direct disciple of Gandhi, as well as 2 decades of experience as a woman-owned and minority-owned business owner. Recognized with a Smart Woman Innovator Award and Woman of Distinction Award for her revolutionary corporate training methodology, Lena and her team have worked with leading organizations in over 16 industries, advised CEOs and senior executives worldwide, delivered over 1,000 seminars, and they've been featured by leading media like NBC, Bloomberg, Fox News, ESPN, and many, many more. Thank you for being here today, Lena. Over to you.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for being here. Welcome to Find Your Voice, How to Drive Meaningful Change in the Workplace. And in this training, I'm going to be giving you tools, ideas, strategies that you as a leader, as an aspiring leader, as a change maker, as an innovator can embrace that will really help you to use your voice in a way that will drive meaningful change. And in particular, we're going to work with you to enable you to be more strategic in growing your current business, in winning new business, and in capturing greater market share. So before we dive in, I do have one request. If you have any questions as I'm speaking, if you wouldn't mind just making a note of them, holding off till the end. So Sam said we will have time for Q&A at the end. So that will enable me to just keep flow. I've got a ton of content to share with you. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, that would be terrific. So let's get started. So here's this quote by the Center of Creative Leadership, and they say that rapid organizational change is one of the biggest leadership development challenges facing businesses in coming years. And this means that your leadership team and you, no matter where you are in the organizational hierarchy, need to be equipped with an understanding of what is changing, what we are doing that is holding us back, and what we can do about it. So I'm going to give you in this webinar 3 very specific approaches to enable you to use your voice. But first, I'm going to give you a kind of overview of the current situation to give you some context around what we are up against. So consider this. Consider the direction our world is going in. The leaders in industry are leaving behind them this massive wake of nothing. Many are in the crest of their careers, and within the next 5 years or the next decade, they're going to be looking for their exit strategy. So who does that leave on the bench? Us. There is a gap, and we have to fill that gap. We are going to be the new leaders, and we've got to be prepared to step into their shoes, to take business and technology and education and politics forwards. So the good news is there is an ocean of opportunity. We're living at an incredibly exciting time. The workplace and the world is changing at this unprecedented pace. It is spurring innovations in corporate culture. It is spurring innovations in new product lines that are speaking to demographics that have long been ignored. And so the growth potential is huge for those that are paying attention and they're not threatened by the tidal wave. So the focus right now needs to be and is moving towards more and more putting the focus on people, helping us, helping you, helping them, helping people in the workforce thrive. And I believe that is the fastest path to ensuring that your organization is ready for the future of work. So this time is right for us to be contributing in a very meaningful way. And this is what Wendy Woods from the Boston Consulting Group has to say. She says, smart, committed people. They are our most precious and powerful resource. And many of the innovations that people have created recently enable even more people to contribute in even more substantial ways. That's a significant part of why I'm so optimistic about the future. So this is our time to contribute. And if for any reason, if you're one of those people right now, and I'm guessing if that's not you because you wouldn't be here otherwise, but if you're one of those people that believe that we need to leave it up to the big guns to finally wake up, smell the roses, make things magical and perfect for us. If you're one of those people that believe that we deserve raises and rewards and recognition without applying ourselves to learn new ideas, to learn new ways of thinking and learn new ways of showing up in the world, then this training is not for you. Okay, but if you're one of those people who are like, give me the material, give me the content, give me the strategies, I'm ready to make things better, I'm ready to take a stance, I'm ready to change, then you are in the right place. So here are the key takeaways I want you to walk away with, and I'm going to give you during this training webinar. Number one, the 7 key trends that are taking place in the workplace today. I'm going to teach you the understanding, to understand the difference between what I call the old power and the new power. And then you're also going to learn the 7 keys to awakening this new power. And then you're going to learn 3 approaches to using your voice to drive meaningful change. So let's start with the first key trend, the tech revolution. Clearly, it is all around us, and the potential for growth is huge. It's obviously going to lead to business growth, the potential for new product innovation, for streamlining processes and innovating that is obviously there. And currently 40% of CEOs say that innovation is one of their top 3 priorities today. So if you can tap into that and somehow use your voice to add to that conversation, you are onto something. And I want to take a moment because I think it's really important for us to recognize how capable women are as innovators. We're most likely to be adversely affected by the shift towards this technologically advanced labor market. So a lot of traditional female-orientated jobs, administrative roles and so on, are being wiped out by automation, and the traditionally male roles like STEM, science, technology, education and maths are becoming more and more prominent. So our ability to be creative and to innovate is going to contribute hugely to this change in the workforce. The second key change is the move towards purpose-driven organizations. Today's workforce and the young generations that are following have a very different standard for what they should live by, and that's what we should be living by. Millennials are cause-driven. They care very deeply about making a difference, whether it's in the community or on the global stage. So organizations that are not making this a key priority right now are really missing out. The key change, the third key change is the shift towards lifelong growth. And what I mean by that is traditionally people get hired in the workplace because of their qualifications, because of their experience. And organizations are now recognizing that education and experience are no longer going to cut it. About 30% of the jobs that we're going to be doing in the next 5 years don't exist yet. So companies are recognizing the value of investing and training their people and teaching them how to think, how to problem solve, so that they can be future ready. The fourth key change is the multi-generational workforce. So I spoke at a conference last week, a tech conference, and with IT leaders, and it was interesting that 2 of the senior executives of the company, of leading tech companies, said to me separately, without even discussing this with each other, they said that this was their biggest challenge for them, is actually helping the different generations find a common language and communicate with each other. The fifth key change is shifting of the organizational hierarchy. And so what I mean by this is there's a shift happening from the individual to the collective power. And I'm going to be talking about this in more detail shortly. The sixth key change is rethinking the pipeline. So there's a lot of groups that are experiencing discrimination right now, but organizations are very, very conscious that they need to be doing whatever they can to embrace these underrepresented groups. This diversity of perspective has to be occurring in the C-suite and at board level. It is critical in order for organizations to stay relevant and drive innovation. So they're really really rethinking how they're getting more women into leadership, for example, how they're getting more diverse representation and training them all the way from mid-level, from manager, director, VP, and all the way up. And then the final key change is reimagining office culture, because nothing can be done, no innovation, no change can happen unless the people feel safe enough to do so, unless an organization is focusing on creating a culture of innovation, a culture of collaboration, and a culture of inclusion. So these are just some of the really key areas that we can affect meaningful change. We're not limited by any of the above by any means, but these are really sort of the key trends that are happening in the workplace. So I'd like to hear from you for just a moment. If you can type in the box areas where you would like to see meaningful change. It could be one of these that I've shared, or it could be something else that you're personally dealing with. Just give me some ideas of what you feel like where the most important changes need to be happening. Go ahead. Anyone there? Rethinking the Pipeline, multi-generational workforce. Great. 4 and 7. Okay, okay, great. So great. So let's move on and see where we go. So this is really interesting. So I want to document, I want to share how far we've actually come in the last 60 years. And I came across this last week and I thought it was funny and a little bit scary. So I thought I'd share this with you. So this is from a magazine in 1958, and the publisher asked 16 people to brainstorm strategies lonely women could use to get men to pay attention to them. And here are a few of my favorites. So you can see there's that article, I've circled it in the left corner, 129 ways to get a husband. And here are some of my favorites. Stumble when you walk into a room that he's in. Don't take a job in a company run largely by women. Let it be known in your office that you have a button box and will sew on bachelor's loose buttons. Stand in a corner and cry softly. Chances are good that he'll come over to find out what's wrong. So some of these tips are rather questionable, not very empowering at all. Let's look at how far we've come in 60 years. Fast forwarding to 2018, this happened. Employees at Google in New York City, Silicon Valley, Seattle, Hyderabad, London, Berlin, Zurich, and other cities around the world protested how the tech giant handled the sexual harassment cases against 2 male executives. They were basically awarded $105 million in exit packages, and that was it. So obviously, employees responded with outrage and protests. They certainly didn't respond by offering to sew buttons on these men's shirts. Go figure. Also in 2018, a young student, Emma Gonzales, bravely addressed a gun control rally in Florida days after a gunman entered a school, killed 17 people, and injured many more. And this is just one of those images that shows support for Emma, who has become quite an icon of the anti-gun violence movement when her speech went viral. And I share these examples because these people, employees of Google, these young students, they're not in leadership roles, they're not in positions of power, yet still they manage to use their collective voice to drive change. And I feel that this really demonstrates that we need to today broaden our definition of innovation in today's economy. So here's my new definition. Driving change and new innovation is not limited to supporting your organization in creating new products or services or improving upon existing ones. It must include innovating on the standards, the rules, the modes of behavior we once perceived as normal in the workplace, but that no longer serve us as individuals, as leaders, as businesses, and as a human race. And I also want to talk about what is meaningful change as opposed to any old change, plain old change. That meaningful change is today connected to a greater purpose. Its goal is to improve the life and career of individuals, to help an organization better realize its mission, and to positively impact the world at large. But it goes way beyond this. 3 questions that you really want to ask yourself if you're looking at approaching change in a meaningful way is, how is it going to impact the individual? How is it going to impact the business, the organization, and how is it going to impact the world?